Here is your starting grid for the Minimax Winter Cup final. So on pole position will be Jacob Ashcroft from the United Kingdom, and joining him alongside on the front row will be Albert Friend. Felipe Reyes and Denny Babacek will be on row number 2. Nikita Lubimov, just waiting for the light. Just bear with us a second. So Denny Babacek will be on row 2. Nikita Lubimov and Cole Denham rounding out row number 3. Charles Kitely and Finlay Line completing row 4 with Rory Armstrong, and the Netherlands Boris Verhaag rounding out the top 10. Jensen Chalk and Tom Reed, row 6. Row 7, Oliver Majewski and Afonso Lopez. Row 8, it's Shibazaki Mikoto and Sigurd Stubberup. Row 9, it's going to be João Pereira and Jeremy Roivers, and completing the top 10 from the United Kingdom, it's Ethan Griffiths, and from Peru, it's Iago Lempen. Rounding out the 34-strong grid, it's Isaac Barker, Hugo Fuentes, Jack Freeman, Sam Mott, Daniel Ferreira, Amelie Davey, Unto Olavi Lakonen, Ryan Gandor, Daniel Minto, Nathan Kappen, Min Jae Kim, Francisco Lopez, Kieran Stewart and Max Gilman. So last year, the top 3 in the Minimax class was Albert Friend, was last year's Winter Cup champion. Nicolas Garcia was the runner-up, with Boris Maximov rounding up the overall top 3. This is the race that is the most important of all for the 34 Minimax drivers set to go into battle for 11 minutes, plus an additional lap. The red lights are ignited as we are about to kickstart the afternoon's action here in Andalusia. It's Ashcroft on pole, Albert Friend alongside, out of the final corner. Are we ready? Are we steady? The Minimax final gets underway. Once again, a good start by Jacob Ashcroft, and Albert Friend keeps it pinned towards the outside and makes sure that Felipe Reyes does not get through. But Albert Friend already looking to attack early and go for the lead through turn 5, and the 191 gets through on the opening lap of the race. Albert Friend knew he had to make it count, but still has Jacob Ashcroft for close company as they go down the hill through the corkscrew part of the circuit. And Ashcroft looking towards the outside, nearly a little touch between the two. But Albert Friend keeps it at the front of the field. Felipe Reyes, Nikita Lubimov, Denny Babacek. There's going to be a change for 6th position as Cole Denham gets through on Finlay Lines. Albert Friend going very, very defensive very early going into turn 16. Trying to keep Ashcroft, Reyes, Lubimov and Babacek at bay. Felipe Reyes was looking towards the inside of Ashcroft heading into turn 1, but thought better of it. And now we wait to see what transpires over the next nearly 10 minutes, plus an additional lap of racing action. Over the crest once again at turn 8. Albert Friend leads the way. Then it's Ashcroft, Felipe Reyes, Nikita Lubimov, Denny Babacek, Cole Denham, Finlay Lines, Charles Kitely, Rory Armstrong and Boris Verhaag. Ashcroft just waiting for his opportunity to get through on the 191 from Strawberry Racing. Title line taken by Ashcroft through turn 13. And now the lead now re-changes once again. Ashcroft gets through on Albert Friend. Felipe Reyes trying to carry the momentum through. There's a side-by-side for 4th place, and Denny Babacek gets the position off of Nikita Lubimov. Now the top three are line astern. Albert Friend gunning for the lead through turn 1. Oh, the slightest touch on the right rear of Jacob Ashcroft means that Albert Friend loses out second position to Felipe Perez as a direct result. Now this is going to allow Denny Babacek, Nikita Lubimov and now Cole Denham, as it's a six-way fight at the front of the field. Again behind them, battling over 7th, 8th and 9th. Finley Lyons was 9th, now up into 8th, having got past Charles Kitely through turn number 9. Battles up and down the order, especially with Lyons going into battle with Kitely. As Rory Armstrong, the 166 from Downpatrick, County Down, has got through and now is up into 7th position. 3 wide into turn 16. And I think that was Jeremy Rivers that was up the inside. And now we've got a further change because now Felipe Reyes takes the lead. Up into 3rd, back goes Albert Friend. And Albert Friend looking up the inside through turn 5. Up through the inside of Ashcroft goes Friend to take 2nd position. A little bit of a gap now starting to emerge between Felipe Reyes and Albert Friend. But that is closing as they go down the hill through into turns 10 and 11. Albert Friend takes a tighter line as Felipe Reyes sweeps wide coming out of the corner. Nikita Lubimov up the inside through onto Denny Babacek to take 4th through turn 12. A little bit further back, there has been a further change. Rory Armstrong has dropped behind Finley Lyons and Charles Kitely. And back down to 9th goes the 166. Albert Friend, oh, there's a bit of a tussle between the top 3, side by side between Ashcroft and Friend, and now Lubimov manages to get through on the 122. Babacek and also the 162 of Cole Denham, now in clear contention. 6 minutes and 20, still to go on the timer, plus an additional lap, but Felipe Perez has got a slight advantage to the tune of 3.5 tenths of a second. And now Albert Friend gets the lead through turn 5. That seems to be the sweet spot for the 191 to make plentiful overtakes over the course of the race so far. 30 seconds until we hit the halfway point of the timer in this final. But with the top 5 line astern, it's going to be difficult to predict a winner in this one. Felipe Perez retakes the lead through turn 12 off of Albert Friend, as we're now on to lap number 5, and there is absolutely nothing between the top 6. And you look at the 4 behind, battling for 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. And then there is Jeremy Rivers, who's got through on Rory Armstrong, but the 166 on the counter-offensive through turn 16. The 121 from Spain reasserts himself and remains in 9th position. Folks, sound the alarm bells. We've got a race on our hands here as there's a further change. This time Cole Denham gets past Denny Babacek. But the top 4 now, as there's going to be another change for the lead. Albert Friend back through on turn 5 on Felipe Reyes. Nikita Lubimov waiting the wings. And Jacob Ashcroft will also have an opportunity. Down the hill once again. Felipe Reyes will try and tee up Albert Friend into the turn 12 left-hand hairpin. He did that on the previous lap. On this occasion, the 107 from the Netherlands decides not to do so. Fastest lap of the race, however, with a 1 minute 8.4 dead, is Jeremy Rivers. Coming up to the 4 minute mark remaining. The top 6 starting to close up again. Felipe Reyes in the wheel tracks of Albert Friend, with Lubimov not too far behind either. Back through turn 1, up the hill once again. Top 5 drivers covered by just under 6.5 tenths of a second as Lubimov goes through on Felipe Reyes through turn 5. They nearly have a little bit of a touch. Felipe Reyes might get Ashcroft up the inside through turn 7, but not on that particular occasion, as now Denny Babacek is battling away with the 122 for 4th position, but loses momentum. Through turn 12 once again, we're on to lap number 7 with 3 minutes and 20 seconds on the timer remaining. Ashcroft now will have to start pushing, because the more that Albert Friend gets away, the less chance that he has to get through on the 2 in front and to start pushing. Lubimov and Felipe Perez going side by side. Ashcroft now trying to get the undercut on Felipe Perez, now in the wheel tracks of the 107, across the line to complete lap number 7. Albert Friend now has just under a 3.5 of a second advantage over Nikita Lubimov. And now Ashcroft trying to get through on Felipe Perez, who in turn tries to get through on Nikita Lubimov. And now Ashcroft sees the door open. That's exactly what he needed. And now Denny Babacek also gets through on Felipe Perez, coming out of turn 7 and through the apex of turn 8. Ashcroft now pulling. Well, I never thought I'd see that one. Jacob Ashcroft with an absolute howitzer of an outside overtake. He knew he had to take that risk. That was through turns 10 and 11. Now the fight really begins, and now the 5 behind Albert Friend have got to start pushing. There is clear air between Ashcroft and Friend at the front of the field. Lap 8 almost completed. What is Albert Friend's advantage after this one? They come across the line. The advantage is just under 0.48 of a second. As now Denny Babacek fires it up the inside for 3rd place off of Nikita Lubimov through turn 5. Just under 90 seconds still to go. Ashcroft starting to pull away from the trio, make that the quartet behind, as he now will start chasing down Albert Friend. Gap between them is about 4 to 5 kart lengths, as Lubimov again gets through on Babacek, this time at turn number 12. Cole Denham is waiting the wing, so is Felipe Perez. Into the final 60 seconds of the Minimax final. Ashcroft is getting closer and closer still to Albert Friend, who continues to lead. And now he's in the right place at the right time. 2 laps to go, including this one. It's Friend versus Ashcroft at the front of the field. The pair are line astern going up the hill through turn 4. Now into the hard braking zone for turn 5. But Ashcroft has been absolutely dominant all weekend long. This final has been something somewhat different for the 122, as now he's got to try and outsmart and outwit Albert Friend, who's just up ahead of him. And now they're line astern into turn 12. Ashcroft biding and waiting for his opportunity. 11 minutes have expired. This plus 1 more lap to go will decide our Wintercup champion. Albert Friend takes 2 looks over his left shoulder, and Ashcroft goes for the move through turn 16 to now retake the lead. Albert Friend trying to counter-attack, and now it's starting to close up once again. 1 more lap to go. Ashcroft leads from Friend, Lubimov in 3rd, Babacek in 4th, Cole Denham in 5th, Jeremy Rivers now in 7th behind Felipe Perez, as Ashcroft leads them up the hill for one final time. Goes defensive through into turn 5. Did not give Albert Friend the opportunity to try and get past. Down the hill one more time they go. There's been plenty of twists and turns in this one, as Ashcroft now starting to pull away to about 2 to 3 kart lengths ahead of Albert Friend. Now the last run down to the final hairpin at turn number 16. Jacob Ashcroft continues to lead the way, having retaken the lead. 1 lap ago. Out of the final corner. Last year it's Albert Friend. This year it's Jacob Ashcroft, your 2023 Winter Cup champion. What a dynamic final. Plenty of great close quarter racing, especially at the sharp end of the field. But Jacob Ashcroft, by 0.253 of a second, becomes your 2023 Rotax Max Challenge Winter Cup Mini Max champion, and boy, is that deserved. Albert Friend won it last year, runner-up this season, but nevertheless, he gave Ashcroft a lot to think about, and so did quite a few of the others, finishing behind the 122. Nikita Lubimov, Denny Babacek and Cole Denham rounded out the top 5. Even Felipe Reyes, who finished in 6th at one point, led the race. Jeremy Roivers in 7th for Spain, ahead of Charles Kitely, Finley Lines and Rory Armstrong, rounding out the top 10. Afonso Lopez, Boris Verhaag, Isaac Barker, Oliver Majewski and Sigurd Stubra round out the top 15. Iago Lempen and Jack Freeman round out the top 17, with Hugo Fuentes, Tom Reed and Max Gilman completing the overall top 20. Daniel Minto, Ethan Griffiths, Joao Pereira, Sam Mott, Daniel Ferreira, Ryan Gandor, Kieran Stewart, Emily Davey, Shibazaki Mikoto, Jensen Schock, Unto Olavi Lakonen, with Nathan Kappen and Francisco Lopez rounding out the 33 finishers. And unfortunately, we lost Min Jae Kim very early on. Well, the tension was building into the anticipation for the first of 4 finals here at Campillos for the Winter Cup, with Nikita Lubimov showing, look, I'm going to be number 1, but there was the person that no one had been able to touch all the way through the pre-final and the heats yesterday. 11 minutes of racing plus an additional lap awaited the Minimax drivers as we went under full racing speed, and the Rotax roar brought the race to life, but in more ways than just one. Ashcroft would lead the field into turn 1, with Albert Friend going side by side with Felipe Reyes as the 191 still managed to keep ahead. But very early doors, Albert Friend took the initial advantage and got up the inside of Jacob Ashcroft, something that no one had been able to do so far this weekend. But changes were afoot, and on the penultimate lap of the race, Jacob Ashcroft was showcasing his prowess. So was Albert Friend, and this moment here nearly caused dramas for the 191, who managed to keep out of harm's way. But then Felipe Reyes took the lead. Denny Babacek and Albert Friend went side pod to side pod, bringing Nikita Lubimov into the fray, along with Cole Denham from the United Kingdom. But then more overtakes through turn 5, courtesy of Albert Friend. Seems to be the sweet spot for the 191 for overtaking, and he used that quite a lot this weekend. Denny Babacek and Nikita Lubimov had plenty of battles along the way, and then once again through turn 5, on Felipe Reyes, Albert Friend retook the lead. And then the favour was returned by the Dutchman through turn number 12. But all the while, whilst they were battling away, someone was waiting in the wings, biding their time, waiting for the right moment. Lubimov would get through on Felipe Reyes on through turn 5 to take second, but also gave the window of opportunity to Jacob Ashcroft, who took full advantage through turn number 7, as Felipe Reyes not just lost 1 position, but also made that 2. Cole Denham would also throw his hat into the ring and get past Felipe Reyes at one point. Both Babacek and also Lubimov were battling away at multiple points on the circuit, most notably through turn 5 and through turn 12. But on the penultimate lap, Jacob Ashcroft sealed the deal, getting through at turn 16 on Albert Friend, and with that, he went on to take top honours and become the 2023 Winter Cup champion.